Hey, this is Jon Gordon with Positive You, and today my guest is Lauren Mones. Lauren, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Lauren, you are the creator of one of my favorite products of all time. It's a drink. It's a probiotic drink. It's called Fermenting Fairy, and I just love it. I wanted to have you on because I love this product so much. This is not sponsorship. This is not about you're not paying me. I actually really love it that much, and I want people to understand that. It just tastes better. It seems healthier. Can you tell me about what's different about Fermenting Fairy, and first what it is, and then what's different about it versus all these other kombuchas and other probiotic drinks on the market today?
Boy, that's a loaded first question, John.
We
Thank
go
you.
right we go right into it, Lauren.
Yeah, you don't mess around. Well, my company, Fermenting Fairy, is very different than most probiotic foods and beverages on the market right now, mainly because I would say the first and the biggest way that we differentiate ourselves is that we use wild fermentation. That is a method of fermentation that doesn't have any starters, doesn't have any freeze dried probiotics, nothing dead going into the food, nothing outside, nothing laboratory derived. We get all of our bacteria and yeast and fungi from nature itself. So we use all certified organic fruits and vegetables to ferment. And when the fruit or the veggie is growing in organic regenerative soil, there's tons of bacteria on the fruit or the veggie and inside the cell walls of the fruit and the veggies. And so it's not necessary to have any outside starter, bacteria coming in. And so we take just the naturally occurring bacteria that's already present on the fruit and the vegetable, and we create an environment where the microorganisms thrive. So the reason why my products are so effective and why they taste better than other products on the market is because it's as close to nature as possible. Literally, like in a bottle, if you're not eating the soil or the dirt, you're getting the same microorganisms that help, to grow that fruit or veggie in, as when you consume it in your body as well. So that offers more biodiversity, which is crucial to gut health and crucial to human health. And plus you don't have anything fake, your body's not recognizing some kind of laboratory derived starter as like, oh, this is not natural. So do I need to mount an immune response and, create inflammation? And no, the body is like, yes, that's me. Yes, I already know those bacteria. I know that food. And so it's more bioavailable too. So biodiversity and bioavailability.
Yeah, someone who's had a lot of issues with their gut health and health challenges and autoimmune. When I was drinking your product, I found it to be one, tasty, but also very healing. Like I didn't react to it like I reacted to other drinks. Other probiotic drinks are in many ways tea-based and a lot of sugar. Why do they do tea-based and sugar? Can you explain like how that works in the industry?
Sure. I mean, the tea base you're talking mostly about kombucha, which most people, when you say fermented foods, they think kombucha. When there's a whole other world, that's like saying the forest is the same as the ocean, right? All fermented foods are kombucha, but that's not true. But tea-based fermented foods are usually kombucha. And the microorganisms need sugar to thrive. That's what they eat. They eat glucose. And when they eat glucose, then they can multiply into the billions and the trillions. So it makes it a stronger, first, it allows the microorganisms to lower the environment into a lower pH so that they can create all kinds of gases. And then they multiply into the billions and the trillions. And then it becomes a fermented tea, not just tea, but a fermented tea. The problem with, a home brewed kombucha is more like the kombucha that we know in ancient times. Kombucha has been around, fermented foods have been around for centuries, same, with kombucha. But when it became more commercially made, in to save time and to scale a kombucha company, you need to, mass produce. And so a lot of the sugars don't get fermented out. And also many kombucha companies will add sugar at the time of bottling. So once it's done fermenting, then it's time to bottle it. You want to add sugar to get the carbonation that kombucha is known for. And that's why you have a lot of sugar that's not fermented out. And people are just used to that. And a lot of people cannot tolerate it. Their bodies just won't tolerate that high yeast and high sugar content.
Yeah, I react to that a lot, but yours I find very healing, and it actually has helped me in a lot of ways in my health. Again, it's why I'm such a huge fan of it. Can you talk about fermentation? Why fermentation in the first place in terms of fermented foods and all kinds of foods?
Well, I mean, fermentation centuries ago, when humans first, were hunters and gatherers, there was obviously no refrigeration. And so fermentation was the way to preserve food. Sauerkraut was made famous by Captain Cook. He kept his crew members fed by fermented cabbage, and he had the only fleet that had 0 cases of scurvy, which is it's a condition where you have no vitamin C, or a limited version of vitamin C. And so, there were sailors back then that were just dying left and right, by the hundreds, by the thousands. And Captain Cook, his fleets never got sick. And that was because he fed them fermented cabbage. So it's been around for long, long time, fermented foods. And it's a way to preserve food. And even in some ancient cultures, when, the winter comes, harsh winters, and they have no vegetables, right? They can't grow veggies. Well, they have, from the summer months, they have fermented food still. And so it lasts them all winter. And they have, that's where they find, really nutrient dense plant-based food is from fermented foods.
What are the benefits of fermentation?
Oh, so many. Well, I mean, there's just, the list is immense. If I had to break it down to a few, they are, since inflammation is one of, if not the cause of most illness and most autoimmune disease, if you don't have proper balance and good healthy bacteria in your gut, then inflammation is going to be systemic in your body. So the bacteria and the microorganisms in your gut that either come from, when you were born and they've been with you your entire life, or they come from fermented foods, they help to fight inflammation. And that's really, really important. They create all kinds of byproducts that, butyrate is one of them. And that is incredibly healing. It's an anti-cytokine. It's anti-inflammatory. So that's one thing that's really, really important for balancing your gut. Every single function in the body is focused. It's necessitated by the microorganisms in our gut. So we're talking blood pressure, the endocrine system, all the hormones. So we talk about the stress that we have right now, 2020. A lot of us have an imbalance in our microbiome right now. And what we're going to find is a lot of mental health issues like depression. So as soon as our microbiome becomes off balance, then the microorganisms are not helping to produce the tryptophan and the GABA and the serotonin and the oxytocin, all the neurotransmitters that are really, the majority of them are made in the gut. not in the central nervous system like we once thought. So yeah, does that answer?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've learned a lot about that in terms of when your microbiome is off and you don't have good gut health, that actually affects your brain health, affects your mental health, because we get a lot of our dopamine and serotonin and healthy neurotransmitters from our gut. And if the bacteria in your gut's not producing it, then you don't get it. So that's why gut health is so important. That's why fermentation is so important. What made you want to start this company in the first place to create something like this?
Well, I mean, what I say to people when I get asked that question is it just, I had no choice. Like I really, of course I had a choice. Like I could have stayed as an occupational therapist, but in a way I didn't have a choice. I was so drawn to it. It was as if somebody from high above was like, nope, you're going to go this way. You're not going to be an OT anymore. You're going to do this because you need to help people. It was my dharma, it was my karma and my dharma. But I got very, very sick 6 years ago, where I was racing triathlons, full-time occupational therapist. I was engaged to a man that I thought I loved. And, outwardly, my life seemed really awesome. And I was in good shape. I was athletic and all that stuff. And, but really I was sick and I was getting sicker by the day. I was going to the bathroom 20 times a day. Had massive diarrhea. I mean, I would eat, it was through me within seconds. And I was severely malnourished because of that. I was dehydrated and malnourished. I wasn't getting any nutrients from my food, and all the water was just getting, going through me. But again, I was racing triathlons. So when I went to see doctors and naturopaths and homeopathy, they would just tell me, stop training. You're training too hard. You're just take a break. And I would take a break and it wouldn't get better. And I just found myself like not being able to walk into my door. Like there was just one step going through my door and I would walk up that one step and have to sit down. My heart was beating. So eventually I got a colonoscopy, and this was after the straw that broke was basically I was having accidents eventually. Like I would go out, I wouldn't know where a bathroom was. The signal to have to go to the bathroom came to me and I had already gone. So I was incontinent at, 35. Which is quite embarrassing and humiliating. And, it's not a way to live. I was really a prisoner of my home because I didn't want to leave. So I finally, gave in to having a colonoscopy, and I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And I didn't even know what that was. I had no idea. And I was told right after the exam that I would have to be on very heavy medication, steroids, immune suppressors, and that this is a lifelong disease. You have to live with it. You just there's no cure. I went from racing triathlons to this. It was just utter insanity. And I went home. I was so depressed. But I found a book. I went to Barnes and Noble. There was actually a store right here in Santa Monica. And I went there with my fiance at the time. And I just, happened upon an amazing book on autoimmune diseases, started reading it. And in a 700-page book, there was a little paragraph that said fermented foods could be beneficial to autoimmune diseases. It was like a little paragraph like that. And for some reason, it really stood out to me. So I went to the store, got a jar of sauerkraut, ate my first bite, and my whole body surged with energy. It was like this awakening in a way. I thought to myself, wow, that was really interesting. Let me do it again. And it didn't really happen the second bite, but then I continued eating sauerkraut for the rest of the week. And I noticed I was going to the bathroom less. And I was also, my stool was starting to form, which, from water diarrhea to somewhat formed stool. I mean, that was incredible, and I thought, oh my God, I'm onto something. I'm really onto something. So I started eating more fermented foods, incorporating them into my diet. And I decided at that moment, my body was really changing. I decided to get off all my medications. I was on steroids and immune suppressors. I said, why am I suppressing my immune system when that's the exact thing that I need to fight this infection? So I said, that's not my path. Threw out my medication. And I just committed to fermented foods being my medication. And when I started doing them at home, I started making all the ferments at home. Then, like, spiritually, I even changed. It just became like this path of awakening. And I started feeling great. And Fermenting Fairy was really born from that.
That's incredible. And this is the first time we've talked about stools on Positive University. I want you to know that. But I think, I think people listening, it's good to be real, be authentic. And also, you know what? That is a great sign of gut health. If you have normal stools, it's a good sign of gut health. If you don't, it tells you something's wrong with your gut health. And as someone who they said had colitis and needed to have my colon taken out, and I never went down that road like you, I was able to heal naturally. And I know so many people who go see doctors, and the next thing you know, they're on these massive drugs. And after that, they're getting their colons taken out when the drugs wind up not working or starting to have issues. And I have family members that have issues with this, and I've been trying to get them on a more natural route and path, and they're resistant to it. But hearing your story is inspiring. And I know so many people. And my wife said it the other day. Say, Jon, we were at the beginning of the process. There are going to be millions and millions of people that are going to be dealing with gut issues over the next 10 years in a big way with health challenges. So just, something that people need to understand as we talk about this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And actually, so many people have told me that, oh gosh, especially when I was first diagnosed, oh my God, oh, my aunt died of Crohn's. Oh, my uncle died of Crohn's. Oh, my mom has Crohn's and she's always in the hospital. And I'm like, oh my God, like I was so scared. And then I realized they're dying of the medication. They're not dying of Crohn's. Crohn's is inflammation. Just treat it as inflammation, naturally, and your body will heal. These people are dying of the medications because you know what? You take one immune suppressor, you take steroids, there's a whole downstream of comorbidities that can happen just from the medication. So, I like that's why I do consultations with people, is because I like to intercept that. Like, no, like you don't need to go down that path. Try it this way first. And if that doesn't work, then by all means, but please try it this way because they're so quick. Doctors, Western medicine, so quick to remove parts of your body. When we were born like this, God gave us this incredible vessel. We were born with every single thing inside of us for a reason. It's one ecosystem that works so perfectly when it's allowed to. And, here we are, Western medicine, like, let's just cut that out and see how you do. No, it doesn't work that way.
And Lauren, I got to tell you, I when I was at my worst, my gut was so inflamed, I couldn't eat anything. I mean, I couldn't even eat sauerkraut. So I'm actually impressed that you're able to eat sauerkraut. I couldn't even eat sauerkraut because it would really affect my gut and actually hurt it in that way. So what else did you do besides the sauerkraut during that time to heal your gut?
Well, I broke up with my fiance.
Okay.
True story. 2 months before our wedding.
Wow.
Yeah. Everybody had plane tickets to come out here and all that stuff. It was a mess, but it was necessary because, the stress of a toxic relationship I don't know if it was the cause, but it certainly played a big role. And we were just, he and I were we were not a match. And I really see it as a sign, that I got sick and he couldn't handle taking care of a sick person, because I was really, really sick back then. I was not able to really do a lot on my own. So I needed to be taken care of. And he was it, because he was my fiance. Well, he didn't sign up for that. He didn't sign up for that. And so he signed up for like a really healthy woman, and so he was out. and that just created a lot of turmoil in our relationship. And it needed to be done. It needed to be severed. And that was a huge step in my healing process.
So you did, so the emotional part was key, the sauerkraut. When did you first decide to say, okay, I'm going to actually start a business with this? When was Fermenting Fairy really born?
It was really born on, one night, I had been thinking about it for a while, but I didn't have a name and I didn't know how to, because I have no business background whatsoever. And I have no connections in the food world, or now I do, but I didn't back then. It was kind of one of these things where I had a full-time job as an occupational therapist. I was fine there, wasn't really happy, but I was fine. So it wasn't like I wasn't being pushed to do it, where I was like miserable and I need something else. No, it wasn't anything like that. But I had been thinking about it. And then I woke up in the middle of the night one night, and fairy, like there was like the word fairy kept coming. And I thought, well, Fermenting Fairy is so cool. And I got on Google. It was like 3 a.m. and I looked it up. I went on GoDaddy to see if anybody had the domain, and nobody had it. And I'm like, I just need to buy that domain right now. So I bought it. And then there was like a week later, there was a full moon or a new moon, I'm not sure. And I went to the Santa Monica Business Bureau. I got a business license. And I'm like, well, let's just do this. So I went to the Brentwood Farmers Market, got a little booth there. And I didn't think anyone was going to buy anything, because I literally started from scratch. Nobody knew me. And I was also producing products that had never been made before. So, fermented lemonade had never been made before. Vegan milk kefir, never. So I thought, well, people are not going to buy this stuff because, but thankfully I could sample. And before I knew it, within a couple of weeks, I was selling out. I had people coming just to the market for me. And that's when I knew like I had something really, really great. And then I thought, well, Erewhon's a cool store. So I heard it takes like a year to get in. So I'm going to start trying to get in now. And I went on and filled out their intake form, and they emailed me that night. And I was in a couple of weeks later to 3 stores back then, Erewhon, or maybe it was 4 stores. Yeah. So I went from 4 months at the farmer's market, just getting a feel, like just trying to figure out how to do a farmer's market. Boom, I was in stores and I had no idea what I was doing, but sure, I said yes. And it's been history since then.
Well, one thing I noticed, I mean, like I said, the taste and the quality, and I remember reaching out to you and telling you how much I like, I'm a big fan of the lavender lemonade, right? The ginger lemonade, which I love, and saying, where do you get your lemon juice? And you said, no, we fresh squeeze our lemons, and we do the same thing with our ginger, and we have, again, all this organic product, and the way you approach it was just incredible. Like it's really high quality. Why did you decide to go that route, even though it's clearly a lot more expensive? Because, they're not cheap, each bottle is not cheap. So
right.
What made you decide to go that route from a quality standpoint?
Yeah. I mean, it's not even a question to me. It's not even a question if I can save another $1 in my margins, because I can buy lemon juice from someone else, and my guys, my team doesn't have to sit there and squeeze lemons all day. It just doesn't even occur to me to try to cut costs by cutting quality. It won't ever happen. Even when I get really, really, really big, national, international, it won't ever happen, because my products are first and foremost for the people, and for the people who need to heal. And when you start throwing garbage like lemon juice with citric acid in it, because most lemon juice has citric acid in it, and that's grown from black mold. Well, why am I going to allow people who are already struggling with their health to have that kind of quality? There's no way. I just think like back when I was really sick, what did I need? I need super, super, super high quality foods. And there was nothing on the market to what I needed. So I created them, and there's no way that I'm going to compromise on that quality, but it does increase the cost of of the product. So, the people who are going to be attracted to my products are going to be the people who recognize the high quality, and that there's not many other products with that kind of high quality on the market.
Yeah, you know what you stand for, and you know the kind of quality you want to have, and so you're saying I will attract those that want this as well. And I'm one of those people because I saw the product. I'm like, okay, this is expensive, but I'll invest in my health because I'd rather spend the money like this now than later when I'm sick, or if I get sick another way. So I'm investing in my health early on, and I probably won't have to pay later on when I'm sick. I won't get sick.
Exactly. And then the other thing is, just like you, people, when they take a few sips of my lemonade or my kefir, they feel the difference right away. So then it tells them, oh, okay, this is worth it. Instead of taking a probiotic pill for 6 months and you're like, I don't feel a damn thing. Am I just wasting my money? Instead, you take my products, you feel the effect immediately. I haven't had one person that hasn't felt an effect immediately.
And I remember you would tell me the difference is a probiotic pill is from, fermentation, but it's not wild fermentation, whereas your product is wild. And with wild, you get the diversity, as you said earlier. You've also told me this before. And in that diversity, you have bacteria that actually thrives in a diverse environment in your gut, and your gut is more healthy when it has a diverse ecosystem. And if you just have the same probiotic that you're taking with, pharmaceutical grade probiotic strains, it's not the same, right? So you're talking about a natural, wild process that is more in tune with nature and our own bodies. So yeah. So I guess I could be a spokesman. So in terms of, let's go back to the business. Where did you decide to pick? How did you decide to pick your different products? Because you have the turmeric one, which I love, the spice one, which turmeric is very anti-inflammatory. So you have that. You have the kefir, and then you have a line of sauerkrauts. Talk about like the different products you have and why you chose that route.
Yeah, we have, talk about diversity. We have very diverse line of products. The kefir, I think kefir is God's, nectar. It is the drink of all drinks. It's one of the healthiest foods on the planet. The Russians and the Caucasians and the Eastern Europeans, they drink it all the time. It's just part of their breakfast, but it's, before my company, it was always dairy based. It was either a cow or goat. And so I wanted to make a vegan version that has the same powerful effects, but you're not getting the dairy. So that's why I came out with the coconut milk kefir. The lemonades, I needed something that was not kombucha, but that was similar in that it was bubbly and it was like a drink that you can have for lunch or dinner, so I came up with the lemonades, and I did this all when I was healing myself. This was way before my company. These products were really for myself. And I just came up with the flavor combinations that I really liked. And our sauerkraut, there's other companies doing sauerkraut. So it's just a really important food. And I came up with different flavor combos that I love and that people really love. But our newest,
give us a few of the combos.
Oh, okay. So apple cinnamon sauerkraut is one that purists will turn their nose up to because they think it's a sweet sauerkraut, and sauerkraut's not supposed to be sweet, but our apple cinnamon sauerkraut is really to die for. It's so delicious. And I made that specifically for babies, and children really love it. But the cool thing about that sauerkraut is I've converted a lot of people who don't like sauerkraut, who like absolutely hate it. And then they'll try the apple cinnamon, they'll love it. So they have something to eat. But my favorite product now is my applesauce, which I'm really, really excited about because it's such a wide range of people who like, I'm having like babies and newborns eat it, all the way up to elders, like, elderly people who don't like fermented foods because they tend towards more sweeter foods. They're eating the applesauce now. And
So it's a fermented applesauce?
The fermented applesauce. Yeah. Yeah. And it's very powerful, especially right now during COVID. Apples are one of the highest foods in quercetin. And quercetin and vitamin C together have been shown to fight viruses. So they don't replicate in the body as much as they would without vitamin C and quercetin. And the applesauce, super high in vitamin C and very high in quercetin. And then you get the probiotic profile in it. And it's just like, it's a game changer, especially for right now.
Right, because you're getting the bacteria from apples, whereas I have the drink. Is the drink or the sauerkraut healthier? Is one more healthy than the other if I was eating straight sauerkraut, or is the drink that I drink, because I mostly do the drink, but I do love the sauerkraut, and the apple cinnamon one is to die for, as you said. Yeah. But is one healthier than the other or no?
No, I mean, they all have different health benefits. So sauerkraut is just naturally high in vitamin C because cabbage has good vitamin C content. But then when you ferment it, it's, 100-fold more. So, when you're eating your sauerkraut, you're getting good source of vitamin C. But then when you're drinking the lemonades, you get the fermented ginger. And that's like one of the healthiest foods on the planet. Not just ginger, but it's fermented ginger. So what that means is the bacteria have already broken it down for you because they eat it, right? And so when you consume the lemonades, it's got the fermented ginger in it, and you're getting all the benefits of, say, raw ginger, but it's like 10 times more powerful because it's already broken down. Your body absorbs it easily because it's fermented. And then you get the lemon, lemon and ginger combo is very powerful in, calming the body and creating coolness, not heat. So a lot of us are overheated because of inflammation, but it creates like cool. The lemonade, it's just all the products have different health benefits.
Yeah, so people should know
a good mix,
Yeah, totally. People should know if your gut is inflamed, you have trouble digesting your food. You have trouble absorbing the nutrients into your body. And so that's why a lot of people have health issues if they have inflamed guts. They also have digestion issues. And so these are the things I had to learn over the years. I spent a fortune on doctors trying to find the right one, trying to heal myself, eventually found the Gastro MD in LA when I was out there. And that put me on the right path. And so it's been a process. It doesn't happen overnight, though. Healing doesn't happen right away. I think, Lauren, that's why it's a challenge, because people will start doing some sauerkraut and they're like, well, I don't feel any better, but it's only been 3 days. They want the quick fix. It takes a little time to invest in your gut health, but over time you bring down the inflammation and then the body naturally heals itself.
Yeah. And it also takes a lot of changing your beliefs too. So, if you're eating a really healthy diet, but you're not getting better, it's good to check your emotional health too. Like, are you tied to being sick? Like, are you getting something out of being sick? That was a big one for me because I was getting attention from people because I was sick. I had to look at that and be like, if I'm not sick, will I get the attention? No, the answer is no. Am I okay with that? I'm going to have to be, So checking your emotional stability too around being sick, like that can do a lot for the healing journey.
That's interesting. In terms of your customer service, I just want to say and let people know the reason why we're even doing this right now is because I reached out to you after I had these bottles shipped to me when I'm back in Florida, because you're based on the West Coast. You are able to ship to people around the country. So I ordered for shipping. It came, 2 bottles broke in the shipping process. It usually doesn't happen. For some rare reason, it happened. I emailed you thinking I'm emailing your company. I'm going to hear back from some customer service person, but you actually responded personally, the owner of the company. I thought, okay, this is awesome. Like, you really are into providing not just a great product, but great service. So I just thought that was really cool that you did that, and also intrigued me. And then I thought, I need to have her on my podcast because, I love this product. I love that you just started this company from scratch and are building it. You're not a big name yet, but you will be. Whole Foods definitely needs to bring you in. If anyone knows anyone at Whole Foods, buyers of Whole Foods, please tell them to carry this product so it can be national.
Yeah.
But will you be able to provide this great service when you go national, Lauren? How will you make sure that happens?
But thank you for saying that, because it's intentional why I don't outsource my customer service. And it's like, I love that you brought this up, because I spend, after a long day at the kitchen, I spend hours answering emails. I don't have to do that. I can hire somebody easily. But, back when I was sick and I was like trying to find products that work for me, supplements, whatever, food, and I'd have questions about it, like, how much do I take? And it's just like, when you're sick, you need guidance. And I could never get in touch with anyone, or I'd get in touch with somebody in like China or something like that, who had no idea what they were doing, and it was so upsetting that I always said, like, if I had a company, I would do it differently. And so I do. Like, that is the number one thing for me, is to maintain connection with my customers and to be there as much as I can, through customer service. So that's number one to me.
That's awesome. Were there any doubts along the way as you were building this company and starting to grow the product, or was it the fact that Erewhon took it in right away that you said, okay, we're here we go?
Oh, no, there's so many doubts all the time. Yeah. I mean, one thing is, like, I don't have a business background. And so, I always had that in the back of my head. Well, what do I know about numbers? What do I know about margins? Like, what do I know about setting prices? I just, literally everything that you see that encompasses my company, I've had to learn just by Googling, by talking to people. So I've had major doubts along the way. I still do, and I always will. But again, I just keep the intention of helping people in the forefront. So when I doubt myself, or I doubt my company, or the sales are down, or it feels like no one's buying, and I want to give up, and I'm like, all right, on to the next thing, I just think, no, there's no way, because people need my products. And so that's what really keeps me motivated. There's, I'm tied to something bigger. Like, I'm tethered to something greater than myself and something greater than my company. And that is, the world needs my products.
I agree. And that's why I'm having you on. I don't do this often, but I just know this product is that good. Mm-hmm. I know it's that helpful. It is that helpful. And you have such a great purpose for why you do what you do. And that purpose is driving you to be successful so that you can help others and make a difference. So I truly love that. And the quality does stand out. I mean, I really, when I drink it, it is like incredible. You just feel so much better when you drink this drink, and you don't feel like that with other drinks.
Yeah.
How can people order it? They can get it shipped, right? Again, it's about $9, $9.99 a bottle. It's not cheap. People should know, but it is that incredible. How can they? But they can also ship a couple bottles, right? Or they can do small amounts, right? So
yeah. We're, you can get, if you order $150 worth, then it's free shipping.
Okay.
And also our products have very long shelf life. So it's not like you're going to order, you have to drink it within a week. Our drinks are 6 months at least. Even when you open them, you can keep them for 6 months. And then our sauerkraut is a year. Our applesauce is about 6 months. So you can order a whole bunch and then just, sip them as you go. And you don't need a lot. You can take a couple of ounces a day, so you don't have to drink the whole thing. But yeah, we ship nationwide. We also ship internationally too. But for international orders, you have to contact me directly. And it's from our website, fermentingfairy.com.
So fermentingfairy.com, and they can pretty much order the sauerkrauts and also the drinks.
Yep, everything. And the applesauce. And then Instagram is fermenting.fairy. I think we're following each other, right?
Yes, totally. Started following you after I learned more about your product, and just, again, so good, amazing. And so fermentingfairy.com, people can find out more about you there. And I got to ask one final question. So you are in Erewhon now, and obviously a lot of celebrities, a lot of actors, artists, they shop there. Have you heard from any of them have reached out? Like, you don't say who, but you get emails from people like saying, hey, I love your product. And you're like, whoa, I didn't expect this.
Oh yeah. 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 Oh yeah, a lot of them actually. And it happened very early on in my company when we were at the co-op, Santa Monica Co-op. I had this one celebrity buying the kefir by the cases. You know, they were calling me all the time. They're like, so and so needs more kefir, and I'm like, oh my god, you know, it's yeah, LA is an interesting pool of people, that's for sure.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
But when people find something good, then they buy a lot of it. And so I just ordered about 30 bottles the other day.
Yeah, I know. Shipped them on
Oh,
Monday.
you saw them ship. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, I appreciate you so much. Fermenting Fairy. Everyone check it out. Again, even if you're not into fermentation, you should be. And also just follow this company, follow Lauren along the way as she grows. And it's going to be a great success story. I can't wait to have you on again in a year and follow the progress about, what's happening next. And I think it's going to be a really cool story. Usually I talk to companies after they've already made it and had huge success. Now it's going to be fun to talk about as this incredible product that's doing well and it's on the rise. So I can't wait to hear the success story going forward.
Oh, thank you so much, Jon. And I love being in contact with you now because I know you've been ordering for a long time, and meeting you in person when you came to the kitchen that one day, it was so lovely. And thank you so much for letting me voice my story and so other people can hear it. I appreciate it.
Well, it is inspiring. And you're someone who, turned a challenge and a devastating condition into a purpose and a passion and now impact on others. So I came to your kitchen because I was on my way down to San Diego to go speak and stopped by, picked up the 2 bottles that you said you had for me that broke, came by the actual kitchen where you make it all. And you gave me these 2 bottles. I drank one on the way there, one on the way back. So it fueled my talk. And, just again, knowing how you overcame your own challenge to now do this, it's really inspiring. I think people can learn from this. Like if you have a challenge and you have a setback and you have something going on, your pain can be served and used for a greater purpose to make a greater impact. And you're listening to that. And I don't think it's an accident. God has a plan. God had a plan. And God is definitely orchestrating this for great things to happen. So I'm excited for you in your future.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lauren. God bless.